Please join me in the pledge to the Bible. I pledge allegiance to the Bible, God's holy word. I will make it a lamp unto my feet and a light unto my path. I will hide its words in my heart that I might not sin against God. Join me in the pledge to the flag. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Well, thank you for making last week a great week. It's a great week when we have lots of fun, but we do it in a way that is honoring to the Lord. It allows us to do more and more fun things like that. Speaking of things that are honoring to the Lord, let's learn more about him through our catechism. We've been talking about the Trinity, and the first person of the Trinity is God, so let's start there. What is God?
God is a spirit and does not have a body.
Where is God?
God is everywhere.
Can you see God?
No, I cannot see God, but he always sees.
Does God know all things?
Yes, nothing can be hidden from God.
And then number 13, our last one that we learned was, can God do all things? Yes. God can do all his holy will. So yes, God can do all his holy will. And we talked about that's important. People who think that people who don't believe in God say, well, if God can do all things, why can't he make a big rock and smash himself? Well, God would never do that because it would be against his holy will. The next questions that we're going to learn is number 14, where do you learn how to love and obey God? So we know who God is now. We know that he is everywhere. He can do anything according to his holy will. Now, the question is, where do we learn about this God? So where do you learn how to love and obey God? And the answer is, in the Bible alone. So repeat after me, in the Bible alone.
In the Bible alone.
So let's put it all together. Where do you learn how to love and obey God? So God's word is the place that we go to learn about him. We do not think of God and just come up with an idea of God from our head, what other people say who God is. The authority on God is his word. He's the one that reveals himself to us, and he does it through the Bible. We are also working on things to make school a better place. We've been working on our school rules. So let's start there. The first rule is obey. Fear God.
And keep his commandments.
Honor others.
Above yourself.
Do your work.
As unto the Lord.
And do everything.
Without complaining or grumbling.
This week we're going to talk about the third rule, which is honor others. So we have first learned that the greatest commandments are to love God, and then we find that through obedience and fearing God. So our first two commandments are our vertical alignment. Once we get our relationship with God correct, that I love him, and because I love him, I will obey him, and I'll obey all those who God has put in my life over me in authorities, my teachers, my parents, certain adults in my life. I obey them as I would obey the Lord. The second thing is I have a healthy respect. God is my father, and like a good father, I respect him. He has authority over my life, but he also loves me. And from that relationship, I will want to serve him and do good. Now, from a vertical relationship, just like if an XY axis, those of you that are learning that in math, we now have a horizontal relationship that I have to work on. So I work on my relationship with God, and from there I can now work on my relationship with others. The first thing is to honor others above myself. What in the world does that mean? What does it mean to honor others above yourself? 6th grade, what does that mean? Yes, what does that mean? Say it again. Treat others as you like to be treated. We call that the golden rule. We find that in Matthew. Do unto others as you would want them to do unto you. What's another example of honoring others above yourself? What would be another way to do that, Pierce? Right. If there is something that you would want to do, but you see someone in need, you would sacrifice the thing that you wanted to do to help the person first. And that's a great example. The word that I want us to think of is preference. I will give preference to other people. So things that they would prefer to do, I will do those first before I'll do the things that I want to do. The opposite of that is a me first attitude. Me first, then others. And that's the exact opposite of what this rule talks about. We honor others first. We give them preference first, the things that they would prefer to do, and then I think about myself. That's why when we come to a door, we want gentlemen to give preference to ladies and to sacrifice the me first of wanting to go through the door and get there first and hold the door for a lady. That's why at recess, we give preference for if you're with someone and they want to do jump rope and you want to play basketball, give preference and I'll spin the rope for them for a turn or two before I go play basketball. That's why when your teacher asks you to do something, you are reading a book and it's really exciting and you're really in an exciting part, and they say, get out your math book. I give preference to them, I honor them, I will put my book away and I'll pull out my math book and get ready for math. All of those things are honoring others above myself. A me first attitude goes against this rule. So as we think about this week and how we make school a better place, we do it by showing preference for one another. What do they prefer to do? And let's do that first before we do things that I'd like to do. A great example of that is Daniel, and we're singing Dare to be a Daniel and how to be a mighty warrior for Christ.
Standing by a purpose true, heeding God's command. Honor them, the faithful few. A hail to Daniel's band. Dare to be a Daniel. Dare to stand alone. Dare to have a purpose firm and dare to make it known. Many mighty men are lost, daring not to stand, who for God had been a host by joining Daniel's band. Dare to be a Daniel, dare to stand alone, dare to have a purpose firm and dare to make it known. Many giants great and tall, stalking through the land, headlong to the earth would fall if met by Daniel's band. Dare to be a Daniel, dare to stand alone, dare to have a purpose firm and dare to make it known. Hold the gospel banner high unto victory grand. Satan and his host defy and shout for Daniel's band. Dare to be a Daniel, dare to stand alone, dare to have a purpose firm and dare to make it known.
So our catechism question that we learned today is, where do you learn how to love and obey God? In the Bible. And it's God's word that's going to guide us. And it teaches us to honor others above ourselves, giving preference for one another without having a me-first attitude. So let's show preference to one another, whether it's our teachers or classmates or other adults in the school. Show preference for one another, and you'll find the blessing of the Lord. The Lord be with you.